that tree. Is the tree real? Let's see if we take a close look at it, if it changes into anything, if we can see the matrix break up. Here we go. It's a big tree too. Here we go. Good morning, one and all, from the second age of reason. This is kind of a video response, and also an installment of SciFi feasibility. There was a movie, I think called Grumpy Old Men, where Burgess Meredith at one point says, "What is a man but the sum of his memories?" And some people have pointed out that when you die, maybe your memories don't go with you. Maybe they just kind of fizzle away and your brain and your body rots away and the memory's gone forever. That's based on the presupposition. The presupposition is that in your brain there are these billions and billions of nerves and neurons and synapses and mental chemicals flowing all about, and that combination of chemicals is like a digital code that encodes all of your memories. The sci-fi part is sometimes they've had episodes where people have done mind swaps. They put funny hats on their heads, they turn on a machine, the electricity goes zzz, zzz, and then suddenly the brains are swapped. This has happened in a number of sci-fi episodes, and sometimes it's permanent and sometimes it's not. But I don't think it's exactly a realistic way of how it would happen. But along that line, you'd have to transmit the entire chemical makeup of the contents of the brain into the other skull to have the same memories appear there. Now, assuming they use the same encryption code, I mean, if one was ASCII and one was EBCDIC, when they swap minds, they would be like, they wouldn't know a thing because they didn't use the same decryption and encryption codes. So I thought I'd bring that up as a matter of thought on the matter. However, some of us have a different hypothesis about the nature of memory, that memory in reality is a waveform. And we are like little pebbles in a pond, and every event we do, every word we say, everything we see is propagated out into the whole universe as a recording. Think of your life as a track on a disk drive, and the track has a beginning and the track has an end. And that's the way it plays back in eternity. It's all there. Your memory, I think, is actually using those chemicals as a harmonic to use as a reference signal against the reality that has been played out. You then can use those chemical combinations to produce a certain waveform to regenerate those memories. And that has some interesting implications to it. That's why, at one point in time, I forgot somebody's name. The name was, let me think now. Recall, Sector, Sac, Sector, Cylinder, Track, Michael J. Fox. Of course, we all know Michael J. Fox, a movie star. And I could not remember his name for months and months and months. And I knew I could go to the collective memory of internet, I could pull it up in a matter of seconds. But I said to myself, no, you don't do that. I knew I stored the information, but I indexed it wrong in my mind, and now it was lost. So I had to reburn the pathway. I had to re-go through all the stars I've seen him with, all the movies I've seen him in, TV shows, everything. And after enough time of replays, everything back, the name finally popped back. Meaning that the name was stored there. Or I just couldn't get the chemical combination to generate that concept in my mind. Now, I think perhaps the concepts are all out there for everything. That's kind of how creativity works. Everybody's events, everybody's memory is out there. And if you know how to mimic their chemical combination to produce the same reference wave against this giant species memory, cosmic memory out there, you can then remember anything, even other people's memories, if you know how. So I thought that's an interesting side effect. And how could people use that? Do we have other names for that now? But I think it's more like that there is, or it's like being mirrored, like in a mirror disk drive. There's a local disk where it's being written, and a mirror disk. So if one disk goes, you can recover the information still, or the information goes off for archiving. Having been in computer technology, we see this all the time, and I think reality imitates nature, imitates the underscoring reality on many levels. It's fractal. And so that's how I think the memories are. When we forget, we've simply lost that little chemical combination that generates the reference wave we need to pull that memory up. The memory is still there. You just have to practice. You have to practice and bring back that combination of remembers it. I call it, like in a database, indexing. If you have 10 items in a list, it's easy to remember them. If you have 100 million or 30 trillion items in a list, you have to have indexing. You have to have a directory structure, a way of looking things up and organizing the information. And it's the same for memories. And I think a lot of trouble when people have memory loss is they've lost or corrupted their indexes, or the space that stores indexes has become unmanageable, something like that. So that's my idea on memory, and that maybe when you die, you can't generate that chemical combination anymore in your mind because it's not there to use as a reference wave, but your mind, spirit, whatever it is, after it leaves your body, it might have access to that. Might take a while to be able to re-access things, and maybe they're encoded with your own psyche code set, so that most of the time you can't read other people's memories, but maybe sometimes you could if you knew how to get other code scripts. So I just thought I'd mention that. I think it's interesting. And I wanted to point out that if you look in the Bible, there's people that did come back from the dead, and they seem to have their memory. We can think of one in particular, but I mean, there's also Lazarus. There was a little girl. There was the witch of Endor, who brought back, I think, the spirit of Samuel and had a discussion. But some of those things are not always the best circumstances, but I just thought I'd mention it, that there are occurrences where people do come back to life, and they seem to have the memory most of the time, depending on which ones you read. So I just thought I'd leave that with you. Please rate and comment below. Any feedback is fine. Video responses are fine. And until later, we'll be seeing you. That was fun, wasn't it? Wow. I love big trees. They're so interesting inside. You never know what you're going to find. Until later. We'll be seeing you.